Due to sensitivity surrounding current events and some violent content, viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, Zubbo1975 and welcome to Elite Dangerous, or as some people prefer, Elite Dashboard. Now, there's a very specific type of player I'm going to call the Elite Dashboard player. Someone who, knows that there's no risk because they're going to dashboard if anything causes them to have risk. Now, I'm going to go through some of the issues that player has because of their chosen way and playstyle. They have some issues. So I'm going to get back to this 1v1 later in the video, but let's have a look at what things bother the Elite Dashboard players. Now, for one thing, they aren't sensible about taking risks. For example, they will remove shields on cutters.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Now, obviously, this means you can carry more cargo, but it's a bit awkward if someone sat 9k away creeping on you, waiting for you to come out of the station so they can kill you because you're a combat logger. Awkward? Yeah. This is the video that was short, that's been seen by over 1,200 people. I just didn't include all the bits of me waiting outside. I was actually chatting to him on messages while sitting here outside waiting patiently for him to come out, and he moaned about me creeping on him like a stalker. What he doesn't know is I've sat outside stations for half an hour, 40 minutes in stealth ships before now, watching somebody, creeping on them. I've also done stealth piracy. I told him to look it up because we stalked people in the rings for like 30, 40 minutes, creeping on them. Meta Orange used to do involuntary stealth piracy where he would fly underneath the person, and involuntary wing mining he used to call it. He used to fire his collector limpets while being snuck underneath them, and they wouldn't even know he was there collecting their fragments and using his own refinery. They were just like, why am I getting so little diamonds? So we do some really creepy things. It's very true, but we are in-game bad guys, so we should do creepy things. And it doesn't get any slower in the full-length video as it was in the short, to be honest. But I'm actually gonna say that, as he's a combat logger, I felt no problem in sneaking up behind him and, giving him an old hi. Now we'll watch his point of view of it, and you'll see what I mean about the Elite Dashboard player mentality. Shieldless cutter. Now there's a contact on his radar that's a square. Now any Elite Dangerous player would click on that contact or be looking in local to make sure that it's not dangerous. Also, any sensible Elite Dangerous player would have shields to protect themselves. But you certainly, the lack of awareness in the fact that a square is now just turned into a triangle behind you, meaning he's got his weapons out, you haven't taken any evasive action or even locked on that target. In fact, you don't even do anything, you just die. And that's an Elite Dashboard player right there. In this case, he didn't have time to dashboard, which is great. This is why I use a frag ship to kill combat loggers, because, it's one way to guarantee this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Now, everyone loves to see a combat logger get their comeuppance. Now, the other thing is, being an Elite Dashboard player means you don't really take notice of normal in-game etiquette or normal in-game standards, because you don't care about other players in any way, shape or form, because you wouldn't do what you do. This means even though you've been told repeatedly, and I messaged him saying please turn your crimes off, of course he's got crimes on. Plus, when he challenged me to a 1v1, I said, what ship size do you want to do? And he said, your choice. So I said small, because I explained to him, it's either small, medium or large, you have the fight in. Now I said small because I thought he'd have a training vulture at this stage in his career, someone who's just starting out in PvP. Even though he is master ranked, he's an absolute novice at PvP. But no, he misunderstood and was like, you can choose what you bring. So I brought a small. He turns up in a medium. I don't even have enough ammo to get through his banks, so I'm going to try to get through his banks. That was my basic aim, but he's got masses of banks, and I'm going into this fight knowing no matter what I do, there's going to be this ending.
We die.
But even sped up, this fight takes an embarrassingly long time for a medium to beat me. I'm telling him to turn crimes off. It doesn't matter at this point. We're going to continue the fight with 2 police. I asked him beforehand, as you saw in the earlier clip, to turn crimes off when I was still in wing with him. Clearly he didn't. And so he's got police help and he's in a bigger ship. And yet this fight takes an embarrassingly long amount of time. Now, I could have orbited him and stayed above him, but it didn't really matter because the police were doing most of the damage to me. I do have chaff on this, so I was quite happy to just joust with him when my chaff ran out. Also, I'm not going to say no to rams in this because, even though it's going to hurt me, my aim is to get through his shields, and the only way I'm going to do that is the extra damage from ramming because, yeah, he's got ridiculously more, firepower than me, shields than me. The banks he's got will last for days. Like I say, I'd be pretty lucky to do anything to that ship. I'm going to totally run out of ammo. I get rounded by the police that are attacking me. I've got to be careful with my frags because if I hit the police, more police will turn up. So, yeah. All in all, this made for an awkward 1v1. But, I didn't mind. It's good training for Tommy, good practice for him because, as you can see, being an elite dashboard player, the basic concepts of flight haven't reached him yet. Even flight assist on gimbal scrub techniques, they're non-existent. For a master ranked player, his maneuverability is limited. His choice of PvP ship is also not a particularly good one. I'm quite critical of people that choose the Python bank tank or the Crate Mark II bank tank because it's basically someone saying I haven't got the maneuverability. And ironically, had I chosen a different one of my smalls and he didn't have crimes on, I would have easily won this. I have beaten many Crate Mark II bank tanks in my Cobra Mark III, shieldless Cobra Mark III, especially frag ones, because I can orbit quicker than they can track me, and because I'm so thin when I'm facing them, it's so difficult for them to hit me with frags that I will eventually whittle them down, take their shields off, and then missile their weapons off. In fact, I've done it to people as good as Ragnar Scott when he was flying a Faz once. So, it's something that certain ships don't do very well against certain matchups, and you have to know how to fly a Crate Mark II. You really have to be good at flying to get anything out of that ship because it's slow, cumbersome, and easy to stay on the top of. And when you stay on the top of it, you present a much larger target. You can see, the frags are just hitting him very easily. But as you can see, I'm getting whittled down. I lasted an incredibly long time in this fight, but, I had no illusions I was going to die from the start because of the type of ship he had, the amount of banks he had. You can see I'm almost out of, I think I ran out of small frag ammo totally. But, yeah, this is just a fun small ship for silly 1v1 fights in smalls, and it has occasionally beaten a medium-sized ship, but just not going to be a full bank tank build with, I can't remember how many sets of banks he had on it, but it was a lot. Now, when I came back in a medium for a rematch, I could have been mean and I could have picked my double chaff double chaff FDL with 3 multi-cannons and 2 railguns and absolutely destroyed him, but I decided to not be mean and I came back in something with no chaff whatsoever to give it a bit of a more even fight. So even though I knew what he was going to be and I didn't take the mick too much, but yeah, my fate was sealed, but I went out like I should, as my ancestors would be proud of, dying in fire in a burning ship, being shot at by everything. Kamikaze! Yeah, my ancestors' fighting style is something I adhere to strictly. I go out screaming while on fire, trying to ram into people on a regular basis. It's the way I like my fights to end. But in this case I didn't manage to get the final ram in, because we rubbed there and I managed to have 0% left. But there we go. It was a fun 1v1, even though I was way outmatched. And 2 of my frags are out of ammo, and I think he's out of banks. So, all good, really. So we reset things. Me and this commander had a good conversation, and I will say my hope and ambition for this commander is that he goes from being an elite dashboard player to being an elite dangerous player. You know, I have no ill will towards him. He has in the past chosen to cheat. I am going to now try and speedrun him because I'm a git, and I'm going super try hard mode because I can just sit above him, shoot down on him, and there's going to be very little he can do about it. The problem with elite dashboard players is they don't learn how to fly, they don't learn how to build ships, they get very lazy with engineering. All they do when anyone tries to attack them is complain and moan and bitch about PvP, but they want to play in open, which is the irony. So they want to play with people and play in open, but then constantly cheat on people and get a bad reputation. It's a very awkward situation. Also, because they don't engage with the game the way the developers, they don't understand power play, they don't respect there's any reason or thing for PvP. You quite often see forum posts or Reddit posts from elite dashboard players that will be complaining about being attacked for no reason when they're quite clearly engaging in power play in the wrong place. Then they will always say, well, I'm just doing power play for the weapons. But I think the person attacking you doesn't know that. You see here, Tommy's doing Denton Petraeus just for the weapons. It doesn't say under Denton Petraeus, I'm just doing this for the weapons, please don't attack me. You see, you don't know until you have that conversation with the person. Recently I was in Cubio and I killed a guy and his wingmates came back for revenge, and it was all fun and games of PvP, but I did agree not to kill him again because they promised me he was just fortifying for the module and he was doing a pointless system. So I was happy to let him go out and give him a 24-hour pass. And in my stint there I managed to kill 3 imps and engage in PvP as the developers intended. But elite dashboard players never understand these things, and that for me means they don't get the full enjoyment of the game. But anyway, GG to this commander. I do hope he changes his ways. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.